Let's get it going. Week 1. Game 1. Women's 10-pin, the Canadian Bowling Championships, and our defending champion out of East St. Paul, Manitoba, is Lynne Gauthier.
Defending champion always starts. You think that's good or what?
Well, I think it's always good to get on the lane and get your first roll. I mean, it just takes away any jitters you may have.
10-pin remains standing on the right-hand side.
She had, we made reference to the fact that she, won in spite of herself. Give her some credit to win the $10,000, but she came in with a good resume. She was a former Pins Game runner-up. So she'd been around and played in national championships.
I think a lot of times when they lose and become a runner-up that they learn a lot, and they use that in their next matches. Should they get fortunate enough to come back up. This young lady certainly has used all of the expertise, as it shows there, that she learned over the years on bowling. Nice to see her start. She is so serious.
Yeah, you're not going to read her face. She's a poker player, isn't she?
Indeed, and a very good one, I might add.
Back-to-back for Colleen Insko.
Two in a row. What a way to start when you're going up against the defending champion.
It's all about the pressure.
Yes, indeed.
And responding to it.
We'll talk about it in a moment or two, about a couple of things that she is now putting onto her arms and her wrists.
That's a good recovery for Lynne Gauthier. Our defending champion, spare strike up against Colleen Insko, a two-time Pins Game champion, back-to-back strikes. So a good start for both these in a very impressive Week 1 women's 10-pin play. When you include, coming up is Kerry Ryan Kayak, former world champion. Look at that.
There's an indication of the talent that we have here. Colleen coming up now is on a double, 2 strikes in a row. The defending champion also is on a double. Look at the form. There it is. There's the revolutions, the roll, and splat. Now here we go with Colleen looking for 3 in a row, called a turkey.
How's that?
The gobblers are coming out, and it's early in the season. She is very, very serious about this. Watch the deep knee bend over the head. She has really learned how to execute and go through with the ball and follow right over top of her head. And you watch the style as she lines up. It's so methodical.
Last time we saw Colleen was 2 years ago in the championship. She lost in the preliminary.
We talked about it earlier. She had 3 in a row and all of a sudden comes in a little tight with the head pin, leaves up the 4, 7, and the pin over on the side, giving her a split. The 9 pin. Now she'll try and go for it, go right across the lane and try and get the pin over the side. That's it.
Pretty shot. Very nice. Colleen Insko. A tough spare brings a smile to that poker face.
Watch her bend here. Watch her reach right over the arrow, the center arrow, and the ball goes all the way down. And if you look at the color of the lane down there, you'll see the shadow on the pins, and you saw the fall the way she wanted it. Phenomenal.
Now here's Lynne Gauthier, who was down early. She had that spare in the first. Can get those pins right back here with a strike. And she's got 3 in a row. Great start to this opening week women's 10-pin play.
strangely enough, when we have the open in the first frame, I opened for Lynne when she started with a spare. Then she gets 3 in a row. Then we saw Colleen start with 3 in a row, and then she got the spare. That spare, the conversion of that split is very critical, because now the defending champion Lynne can get the lead here if she gets a strike, because she's a 50 score in the second, 2 up, and that would give her a bit of a jump.
Oh, great action. 4 in a row.
4 in a row. She now has 80. She has a 3-pin lead, and this is where it was so critical that Colleen made the spare, because what she saw on there a moment ago with the strike for Lynne is what she's going to try and match up right here, and there it is.
All right, ladies, we'll just sit back and watch.
I think the big key there when she made that split conversion is not only did it look nice and it was a TV shot, the fact is it makes her relax a little bit. And she didn't let it frustrate her or, you know, get her a little excited. Watch as she's had a 300 game and she's phenomenal, 824. Not very many people anywhere in the world can say they've had an 800 series for 3 games.
She's a former national youth champion back in 1991.
Single pin remains the 4-pin. She came in a little bit faster than she wanted. However, she's right in the thick of things with 117 in the 5th. And we talked about it in the opening. A split somewhere along the line or a break one way or the other would make the difference. And there's a nice conversion.
You know, we often talk about unforced errors or pins left on the lane. Neither bowler so far has left anything. And that can often be the difference between winning and losing.
3 in a row, and then she put the 4th one up. Now she's going for the 5th right now.
Oh boy, just wrapped her around that 10, didn't she?
You'll notice that men or women, it makes no difference as they go down the lane. If they start getting the strikes ringing, 10 pins will come up, or possibly, like for a left-hander, it would be a ringing 7-pin on the left-hand side. The pins will wrap right around it and not even touch it. That was a nice hit. Pushes the ball out, down, bends it down, the deep knee bend, and goes right across for it. Beautifully done. And here we go, given a chance now for Colleen when she gets back up there to start a string of strikes again. The defending champion has 129 in the 5th, so she has a 12-pin margin.
This is her 4th appearance on TSN. Lynne Gauthier, she was a runner-up in the pins game back in 2000. Wins the Canadian Championship a year ago and replies with a strike in 7.
We'll take a look as we watch both women as they push the ball out down. Watch the deep knee bend, and that's where they get all the power in the mix, like this strike right here. Really well done. Now here's the key for Colleen. She's got 137 in the 6th. She has a strike up, and watch the knee bend. Watch the power. That's where you get the power. The balance, the left arm balances are out there, and there's where it goes right over top her head. Beautifully done. Now if she can get another strike, she will cut the margin down to a possible 2 pins.
Colleen, who is a housekeeping supervisor for Comfort Inn in Medicine Hat. Look at that. What a game these two are throwing at each other.
A little bit more power and a little bit more effort in that thing, and it actually worked for her. Sometimes you might tug it a little bit. She went right into the pocket. Really well done.
So now it's right back on Lynne Gauthier, who is a systems analyst for Manitoba Hydro.
Needs a strike here to stay in contention. He's got it.
Look at this, Frank. What a great way to start. What a wonderful opening game.
They are putting on a show that will do anybody proud. taking a look here. 149 in the sixth, 137. And the ladies are taking a momentarily break here as they just get everything racked up, ready to go here. And you know, it's amazing to watch when you see an opening like Lynne did with just a single pin left standing, and then you get a 3 in a row for her opponent, and here we are back in it, and both of them have thrown tremendous amount of strikes.
Now, it's interesting that all of them, of course, travel with their own balls. You bring your balls to the center. And Lynne Gauthier, I was watching her in practice. She went through about 3-4 different balls in warm-up before she settled on the ones that she was going to play with. Some were just not comfortable. She obviously picked the right ones considering the way she's playing.
Well, if you were to take a hardness test, a barometer test, you try to do, if 100 is it, they'll try and get the minimum that they can, for example 72 number, and that would be the hardness of the ball. And as the ball goes down, the composition will make the ball react a little bit different, and that's what she would be trying there, is to get one that feels comfortable and gets you the action there. The 10 pin stands up, so 100 would be the maximum hardness, and that would be on almost bare dry lanes, and then you want to get the ball to hook a little.
And the other thing too is we've noticed throughout the years, bowling centers are different. You have to adapt to wooden lanes, synthetic lanes. All those variables come into play, and that's what you work out in your practice.
And the bowlers that are right into the game, as these ladies are now, will practice on their corner pins when they're up there taking their shots. They'll do experimentation. You will see a bowler will use a little bit softer ball on the first shot, as Colleen is here, and then on their spare shot, they wanted to go further and faster, they will use a little bit harder shot. This is a very important ball for her.
Absolutely, and look at this. She wraps it around that 10 as well. So it remains a 12-pin difference, and that's Lynne Gauthier, our defending champion, leading.
Here's the shot from behind, goes right over top of the second arrow, starts rotation going in there. The pin went right around the 10 pin but didn't touch it.
They are just matching each other frame for frame.
The real difference in this thing comes right down to the fact that Colleen got the split, converted it, but then you saw her opponent come up with a couple of more strikes at the right time, and we talked about it before. Lynne may very well have learned. She may not have felt she would bowl as well as she could last time, but she's certainly putting on a show here. Colleen needs to set the example right now.
And that's the way to do it. Wow. Colleen, who bowls out of the panorama lanes in Medicine Hat, carries a 212 league average.
Colleen needs to get the strike. The only way she can win the match is by putting the pressure on her opponent, because both of them are doing exceptionally well, in fact. And she has the first strike now. If she can get that up, she can narrow the margin and put the pressure right back on Lynne. This is the ball that will determine whether she advances.
Got it. Oh, she crossed it over just a little bit full on the head pin.
Needs to pick up as many of the pins as she can. She has the split there. She, of course, has the 3, 6, 10 and the 7 pin. She's on a strike, so as long as she can pick up as much as she can on this thing. There she goes, right across the lanes. Leaves up 2 pins. Beautiful game. And the problem for her was she just didn't get the strike at the right time, and that was a nicely delivered ball.
So 224 as Colleen Insko leaves the 2 pins on the lane. That was the only 2 pins that she left. Lynne Gauthier now has a potential 248 coming off the spare in 9.
Well, it was well done. That was the ball that determined it for her. She is the defending champion and will, in fact, continue to be the defending champion, even though now she's still checking the score.
All right, she's advanced at 228 with that strike, so Lynne Gauthier eliminates Colleen Insko here in the first game opening week. We told you that this week has the potential to eliminate some very talented bowlers. No doubt Colleen Insko is one of Canada's best. Wow.
Boy, the pins just went down for her. Just everything on the left-hand side just folded in. It was quite surprising to watch. Watch the bend. She gets the balance out here, brings her arm right over top. Your opposite arm to your release ball there just look great. And if you're right-handed, your left hand is the balancing arm, the opposite side. Now watch this as she rolls the ball.
Gauthier out of the Chateau Lanes in Winnipeg carries a 226 average. Got another one? Sure, why not? Finish it off for a 248. An outstanding start for our defending champion, Lynne Gauthier, as she'll take the first step towards defending her Canadian bowling championship. A 248. A wonderful game for both bowlers. 248 to 224. Lynne Gauthier will advance